on the road, honey. And you can't keep up with me. You got a green light, baby. Maybe, you will see.
All right, welcome back to the show, or welcome to the show, folks. That's right, you still have the American Adversaries Drive Time Primetime Show for another full hour this evening. And once again, we are coming to you live from the Mercury Free Broadcasting Studios. Please don't ever forget, for the very best in Mercury Free dental care, call my dentist, Dr. James E. Hardy, at 407-678-3399. And don't forget to ask him about his great book, Mercury Free. As I said, this is the gift-giving season, and books are great gifts to give. Why? Because they never stop giving. You can always go back and read it again, and you'll get something else out of it, I guarantee you. I do that all the time with the Bible. All right, well, as I said, welcome back to the show. 407-774-8255 is the number. Nick Cicero is still on the bridge. Herr General Lucas Paris still has us up on YouTube. Tell them how they can visualize us there, Herr General.
You go to youtube.com, and in their search bar, type in Adversaries TV, one word. You'll find our channel. Click on it. You'll see 4 new videos up already. Go further down. You'll find our pizza eating contest and last week's shows.
All right. It's just that easy. And you'll see a new cast of characters in here now. Mike and Hacksaw Jim are on their way to the NFL quote-unquote meeting. And Colonel McKnight is on his way to a meeting with our dear friend Mary Ganster. She, of course, along with her husband, deceased husband, Ed Ganster, founded OS 91, Operation Safety 91, which seeks to put a plastic Psalm 91 card in every military person's pocket, and first responders. It's a great organization. So in their place, we now have in the studio some great folks from Legal Immigrants for America. That's GoLIFA.com. And I have in with me Amapola Hansberger, the founder of LIFA. Amapola, good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you for having us.
Yep. And Chris Kassler, who is now the director of production at LIFA, because you guys have a new chairman of the board.
Well, we have a new executive director.
Executive director, I'm sorry.
Stephen Gushoff has come on as our new colleague, and he's making some waves, which we're glad to say, and I expect he'll be on your show next week or the week after.
Yeah, and that's big news, because Stephen was, of course, with the Liberty Counsel, for a number of years. So
tremendous amount of experience in the field of fundraising and putting together a foundation and really making things sing, which is great.
And, of course, he's a lawyer, so that helps out, too.
And he's a pastor as well.
And that's right. You're right. And he's also a big wrestling fan, so he's going to be mad he missed Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He's going to see that picture of you guys with Hacksaw and go, oh, man.
And that was a blast, having him on. That was great.
And he's also a very smart and well-informed man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So, he's no slouch.
And as your listeners will discover, he's also very articulate.
Indeed. Yes. Indeed he is. And he's got huge hands. Golly, does he ever. All right, San Bernardino, most of you have probably already heard, some of you may not. There's been a mass shooting in San Bernardino. It appears in all likelihood to be a terrorist act. It was committed at a place called the Inland Regional Facility, which is a campus facility, sort of a horseshoe-shaped building about 3 stories tall, and it employs about 650 people, and they serve some 30,000 mentally impaired people in the San Bernardino and Los Angeles area. So obviously it's a very soft target, and it appears to be a terrorist act because there were as many as 3 perpetrators, according to the Los Angeles Police Department, who entered the building shooting AK-47s with face masks and apparently body armor. They escaped. They have not been caught as of airtime. They escaped in a black SUV. And It's still an ongoing situation there. They sent in the bomb squad. They thought there was a bomb perhaps left in the building. I'm not sure about the determination of that. Carl Jackson alerted me a little while ago that there are at least 14 fatalities. Oh. There were other people wounded. We do not know how many more and how bad. That's what we know right now. The president evidently has issued a response, and let's go to Rick on the line right now. Rick, thank you. What was the president's response? We've been on air, and I haven't been able to see it.
Well, as usual, his response is blaming. Well, he either blames Christians or workplace violence or everything but what it is. And this looks very close to being a terrorist attack, and since it's so close to California, to Mexico, it's it's very possible that it's a cell, and who knows, they may have gone back across the border, and which I pray. And you're praying, people out there need to pray for the families of these people. Unfortunately, California, it's the left coast in more ways than one.
Yeah.
They'll probably side with the president and what have you. But I heard his comments, and of course, it's more of the same. Basically, you could put this on a loop for every time some shooting happens. It's going to be the same over and over by the entire media. Now, his goals over the next 12 and a half months, which is what he's got left with, which is not going to end quick enough. He's got some lofty goals, and you guys aren't off the hook, because that fairness doctrine, I believe, is one of the ones he wants to put in place.
Oh yeah, well I brought that out the other day because of the response to the Planned Parenthood shooting in Colorado Springs.
Oh, they're going to blame you guys, because you guys incite this, because that's exactly what their tactics are.
Yeah, I know, but see, actually, once again, the liberals get it exactly backwards. If anything, we are a pressure valve. In other words, we allow that people can blow off steam. We allow that people know that there's somebody out there saying the truth, saying what needs to be said, and it kind of eases the pressure back, actually. We are a good thing.
They don't want the truth out.
Well, that's
their agenda is all about twisting everything.
The beauty of radio is with a small transmitter, you can still go on the air. So they can do whatever they want to try to silence us, but at the end of the day, it will be impossible to do. Rick, thank you for the call. I appreciate you being out there.
Well, at least they didn't blame it on global warming.
We can only just wait, and I'm sure they'll get around to that.
Yeah, not yet.
Well, let me bring you guys into this conversation. Legal immigrants for America. Obviously, we want legal immigration. We don't want illegal immigration. Having the porous border down there on our southern border is a huge concern of LIFA. We don't know that any of this involved illegal immigration, but in fact, this is one of the things you guys fear the most, is it not? That something like this could be done by illegal immigrants or illegal terrorists coming into this country using the illegal immigration process to get here.
Well, the border's open, effectively. The government, the Congress actually provided the funds to build a 900-mile wall. They've only built about 69 miles out of that. So the thing has been open effectively for the last 30 years since they decided to reinforce it. But not only is it people, it's also drugs and guns. We've got a lot of stuff going back and forth between here and Mexico, over which we have no control. If you, as I did not too long ago, drive across South Texas, there are signs to tell you, don't get too close to the border. Stay away, because we have no control over this territory, even though it's part of the United States.
Yeah, we are the voice. Like your voice is the equalizer. We have to have a voice that expresses the opposite view. The opposite view that is the leftist view, which is open the borders, be compassionate. And I say, yes, let us be compassionate, but to our own family. We Americans are family, so we have to take care of Americans first.
To me, that's a false notion that it is compassionate just to allow people to come in here, or Syrian refugees to be brought here, taken away from their homeland. That's a false notion of compassion, isn't it not?
The ramifications are incredibly long, such as the economy, it goes down, it takes a downturn because there are no jobs. We don't have enough money to provide for our veterans. The schools have to close, the hospitals have to close because they are simply overwhelmed by the numbers of people showing up. So illegal immigration has to stop if we are to have a prosperous country.
And in regards to the Syrian refugees, the people who come here through the refugee program are automatically qualified for every bit of social welfare that we have, are they not, Chris?
Correct, because they are refugees and not immigrants. There's a distinction. And they are given automatic access to every program available, both state and federal, immediately. Right. They don't have to speak the language. They don't have to take the test that a citizen takes to prove that they've studied American history and geography. None of that is required or expected. And so we have people being transplanted into American communities who are not capable or interested in assimilating. They're bringing their customs and their language with them, and they're being paid for by our tax dollars. They're also being supported. It's horrifying but true. Federal government has spent over $1 billion in the last 5 years bringing these people in, and they use the Christian relief agencies, primarily the Catholics, the Episcopalians, and the Lutherans, who are paid $1,500 a head to relocate people inside this country. The program is run by the State Department in collusion with the United Nations. And so we are being invaded at the behest of the United Nations, which, by the way, is controlled by the 57 Muslim countries that run it.
And the Christian organizations are being used to bring Muslims into the country, not just Christians, correct?
That is correct.
As a matter of fact, very few Christians.
That Christians are left behind.
The candidates for immigration are chosen at the UN. Guess why? Not by us. So the overwhelming majority of these refugees are Muslims.
And
That's right.
And you made a point that I've made on the show as well. They're not coming here to assimilate into our society. They're coming here to assimilate us into their culture.
Yes, I'd like to make a comment about the compassion question.
All right.
And if you go to GoLifa.com, one of the lead articles at the top page of our homepage is Compassion Kills. And it's a detailed discussion of what happened in France on the 13th when 132 people were killed and many more were injured as a consequence of compassion. These people were allowed in, they weren't checked, they weren't vetted, they weren't controlled, they weren't tracked, and they were dangerous. And we found that out the hard way. That was compassion at work.
Right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is it so different to going to get on a flight? You have to go through the TSA, you have to go through the machine, and it happened because the country wants to take care of its people, and the airlines have to safeguard their airplanes from being blown up. Well, it's the same thing with the border. They need to have the same checks so that bad people don't come in.
Right. Yeah, it seems a little ridiculous that we have all the security checks at places like airports, which are, places where people come and go, and yet we don't on the border, where is a place where people come and go, right?
Yeah, and this year alone, there were 9,295 criminal aliens that were released from jail.
Into this country?
In this country already. And of those people, 5,947 had significant criminal records, and one of them killed Kate Stanley. Yeah,
and she, of course, was the woman who was killed in San Francisco, just walking on a pier with her father. We had a caller earlier who suggested that the Obama is promoting encouraging these types of shootings and attacks. I'm not so sure about this one. In order to confiscate people's guns from them, he thinks that it's going to work better for the Democrats in the upcoming election. I think it's exactly the opposite. I think that this works against, for instance, Hillary Clinton. I think that if anything, and once again, this is just looking at this from a political standpoint, this helps Republicans in general and one Republican in particular.
Yes.
Moby Dick.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Love that cartoon.
Because he is adamant that we have a problem with the border, adamant that we have a problem, we're not vetting people who come into this country, and adamant that we got to do something about it. Just your thoughts on that.
Well, people feel vulnerable in general because the government's not protecting them. It's not protecting them at the borders. It's not protecting them in their towns or in their homes or in places like this place in San Bernardino. And I think the public is reflecting that. We just had the largest gun sales in any one day in American history on Friday.
Yeah.
They sold more guns in one day than ever before. That, to me, says that people feel insecure and feel that they have to have the means of defending themselves, whereas a great many people for many, many years never thought that was necessary.
Yeah. Real quickly, and then we'll have to take a break. Got this just now from Carl Jackson. Police have caught up with the SUV. It appears as though the driver is dead. One suspect ran away. Another appears to be alive in the SUV. So Carl will keep us updated on that, and we'll keep you updated as the evening goes on. Meantime, you are listening to the American Adversaries. We're live. 407-774-8255 is the